And we are live. Welcome everybody to our final live show discussion of the year, where we're going to be reading talking about.
I
hope we've already read it.
Yeah.
Page 1. No, that would take a very long time. But yes,
the dramatic
we're going to
reading
be
of the book. Yeah.
Imagine that. Oh, copyright claim. Oh shit. Sorry, I had a different window with the live show going, and then I was like, why can I hear myself? Okay. So welcome, everybody. I'll give us a minute for people to join. But those of you who are discussing the book with us today, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Leave a comment with your rating, all that good stuff. Hello, Kayla. Hello, Maddie. Welcome. I hope it's not blistering hot wherever you are.
Yeah, that's a mood.
Mood. 2020 murdered us. Yeah.
It really did. Hey, and this is our last live show of the year. We're taking a break over the Christmas period, summer period. We'll be back sometime in February, but I'm sure we might have some like loose reading stuff on our socials if you want to follow on for that.
We'll recommend some read if you're interested.
Yep.
Do like a couple, like, 2 of my favorites, 2 of your favorites, 2 of your favorites, 2 of your favorites. It's
all the
like,
faves.
Pick a book. Pick a book.
Okay, so shall we start with the star ratings? We'll go which way? Yeah, this way, that way.
Who goes first then? I don't know who goes first.
You, bitch.
You go first.
Me? Okay. So I gave this a solid 3. Solid 3. Initial thoughts are very beautiful writing. Like V. Schwab never fails to deliver in terms of her writing. But it was very pretty, but no substance. And then those are my thoughts, and I will go into that more when we have more discussions. But those are my initial thoughts.
Okay, I guess I'm next.
Yeah.
So I ended up giving it 4 stars. I agree very much with Sophia. Very poignant, beautiful writing. Just certain aspects of the story lacked substance. And that is ultimately why I couldn't give it 5 stars. We got very critical of it during our meetup. We were just we all started very positively, and then we always end up just absolutely trashing the book. It's great.
That's what happened with us. I had to be like, okay, positive thoughts first, and everyone's like, well, hang on. And I'm like, no. Yeah.
Before we delve into madness.
Okay,
what about you, P?
I'm still trying to get my headphones up. I mean, because I'm shit and don't do star ratings, I'm very much the same as Sophia. It was pretty, and it was pretty aesthetically to look at, but it was like white toast, softly toasted, not really good, just pretty, but then cool don't work for me. I couldn't tell you. It was just the forgettable life of ADDIE LARUE. I don't remember what happened. I don't know. Nothing stood out. That's all.
I'm at, I think, also a 4-star. Feeling kind of similar across the board, but I think it's the ending that bumped it up for me. Obviously, we'll touch upon that in the spoiler section. But yeah, really adored the writing. Very atmospheric. Yes.
Okay.
I thought the relationships between various people was very interesting. But for the majority of the book, I felt pretty ambivalent about it. It wasn't until towards the end, it's the last 50 pages where it's just everything happens then. But it was a very, very slow build up to it.
Yeah, definitely. The pacing was definitely very interesting considering how long of a book it was. What is it? I think it's almost, hang on, is it over 500? Yeah, it's over 500 pages. And the climax of the book happens in those last 50 pages. So that was very off-putting. I thought the pacing was very odd in that regard. Yeah. Don't-
Yeah, that was a big topic of discussion last night for us. We were all
Yeah.
just like, we spent so long in the 1700s, and then we skipped so much of what could have been a really interesting world history to see, and we just went almost straight from 1700s to modern day with no in between.
And I think someone mentioned it was either one of you guys or a review that I saw that like, or maybe it was Sarah from our book club, that she went from like, she was all like, oh, France, oh, like traveling the world, and she went to like three like very colonial white places, and was just like, I think it was Anne's review that like made me think about it for the first time. I was like, oh shit, like yeah, you don't, Immortals for me is a really hard sell. Like if you don't grow and become smarter in 300 years, like why? Like what are you doing? Like,
yeah, well, that was brought up at our meet as well, like where someone was saying, like, essentially, well, like a few people agreed, where essentially it's like over the 300-year period of Addie's life, she is essentially the same character as she was from when we first made it to the end, and you know, like, you know, she's learned things along the way. She's had an impact on like on the people that she's like half met or whatever, but like she doesn't grow as a character. And then also on the topic of like where she travels, one of the people at our meet said that she interpreted the book as like a love letter to France, which I do agree with. That is definitely very much like, because it's very much like so deeply rooted in France, and like how she continuously goes back home, and like all those like familial roots and things like that. I understood that perspective of it, but I also think it's very valid to say that, you know, over a 300-year period, why did she never like venture further than like Europe and America? It's very fair to say. I think there was like a couple of comments here that I saw. Lucas asked, like, why do you think so many people have given the book like really high ratings?
I mean, my thoughts would be because like it's well written. Like V. Schwab always writes well. Her words are well crafted. The sentences are great. There's some really good like lines in there that just like evoke emotion and feelings. But I just honestly like that was it for me. I was really scared about this book. Like books don't intimidate me. I'm a human being. Books don't scare me. But because for me, seeing V.E. Schwab every day on social media being like, this is the best book I've ever written, my whole life has gone into it, nothing is better than I've ever written this right now, I was like, oh, well, what if it's shit? What if I hate it? And then just feeling bad, because I love her other stuff. But then seeing this and then seeing all of those positive reviews come up, I was like, oh, like it should be safe then. And then seeing like the one or two of like why you didn't like it, like Anne's review for why she didn't like it, a few other people's on like why they didn't like it, it just kind of felt, I don't know. I couldn't see why other people loved it so much, apart from it was pretty.
It's an aesthetic book. It's all about the aesthetic, and and in a way, Addie's story is very self-absorbed. Like she doesn't. It's almost like you're reading about someone that you don't like. I wasn't invested in Addie at all. Like I didn't care about what actually happened to her in the end. I was very apathetic towards a lot of the characters. Like I mean, I would probably say like I probably had like the most connection towards Henry, but even then Henry wasn't like the strongest character. He was, as people said in our meet, quite vanilla, and I was like, like I understand, but he does go through some things. Little darling, it's okay. But yeah, like I just thought that at surface level it was a very beautiful book, but at a deeper level it just lacked what I wanted.
I'm trying to find, there was like one section that I remember listening to on audiobook when I was walking the dog, and that was the only like paragraph of the book that I was like, oh yep, right in the feels, and the rest was just kind of like cool. And I agree like with what you like Addie, for not growing over 300 years, for being so self-absorbed, and for not kind of like none of the characters just had like substance. I don't know, like I felt bad for Henry, but I was also kind of like Luke to me just reminded me of a bad recent, which, you know, I said
we made a lot of allusions to like.
I mean, it did. There was
characters in this book being like a rip-off of other characters that we've seen done well.
There was just nothing there for me. I'm gonna try and find this passage. So you guys do you.
I think a lot of people are rating it very highly because they don't have the expectations that we do at this point. A lot of them are just like, this is V. She's going to write a really good love story with very beautiful prose, and that's like what they went into the book expecting. So that's what they got, and they were happy with it.
But was it a good love story?
But V doesn't write very good love stories.
Yeah,
Like,
where is the love here? We've got some like possessive stuff. We've got some like, oh, you're the literal only option that I have. I guess I'll take you then. It's handy that you're.
I thought it was really interesting that, as I was saying before, the relationships that we have in here, because you think it's going to just be like a love story. She finds someone who finally remembers her, but it's the fact that I quite enjoyed exploring those relationships, even if they weren't what I expected going into them. Because with Henry, it's kind of like, does she really love him for him, or is it based on circumstance? Because the way that the two of their do I get into spoilers?
Just
spoilers.
Say it subtly, maybe. Like, but just like the way that their situations align, you could say like
yes.
that.
Makes it easy for them to hold on to one another and grow attached to one another. So I thought that was really interesting. And then her relationship, the way that it changes over the course of 300 years with Luke, was also really interesting. I think I found myself more fascinated by that one, though I was it's not that I was invested in the kind of romance between Henry and Addie. I was just like, poor little cinnamon roll Henry, soft boy. Just wanted
vanilla simp. That's what he is.
I just wanted him to have a good ending because of the things that he's experienced. And then with Luke, it was kind of like, this is a very interesting dynamic, and we can talk about this a little bit more when we dive into spoiler territory. And it's not healthy by any means, but I liked seeing how. So I'm trying to think of how to phrase it without spoiling things. Just the things that they do to get their way is very interesting. I like to play that, and especially how that ties into the ending. That's what kind of bumped my rating up from a meh 3 to a that was an interesting way.
Yeah.
I mean, even on that, like on what you said, Kaz, about trying to get into spoilers, like V. Schwab, who have written like, vicious and vengeful and some like really dark, like cool, twisty, psychologically ways of doing it, I still felt that relationship was super lacking as well. I was like, you could go so much deeper and so much harder, especially over 300 years, especially considering who Luke is as a character. And like, it reminded me again, like of recent, like, he's supposed to be this big, bad, all powerful, has been living for thousands of years, knows every trick in the book. And then like a strange vanilla white girl comes along, and all of a sudden he's like, ooh, everything I've ever learned has gone out the window, and I can be felled by arrows. So
because she refuses to give him what he wants, and the way that her curse works actually gives her time to build more of a backbone against him, I guess, and figure out how to go against him.
And he likes the challenge.
Which is, I think that's a game for him. But I think I totally get that, and I think it would very more of a captivating book if we had seen more of that push and pull with Addie and Luke, like if we got to see more from Addie's side of things, if you know what I mean. Trying to be vague again here. Because I feel like there's still more to the story that could be had, and maybe if the focus had been shifted to manipulating long term, I think that would have been very interesting.
Cool. That was definitely something that was raised at our meet, just like we had wanted more of the book to be focused on their relationship rather than the way that Henry and Addie were interacting.
Yeah. Very fair.
Before going to spoilers?
Yeah,
sorry?
Let's look through
should we flip through the comments?
Oh, actually, yes. I was really invested in the Sam situation. I kind of wish, like, at the start of the story, we get to see Addie as she's waking up one morning to this guy that she's kind of been going back to for a couple of months. I wish we'd gotten that with Sam because the scenes that we had with her were really interesting and I really liked her. So I would have loved to see that.
Yeah.
Even,
I expected it to be a little more female heavy.
But actually reading through,
especially after these, like, that thing, the thing that B wrote recently about like coming out and sexuality and all that sort of stuff, about like being a house, something like that. You guys read that?
I read parts of it.
Oh, well, it was beautiful, absolutely adorable. But I think from that I expected more in here. Like, pretty much what you said. I just expected more to be more female.
I also just realized
3 different boys, 3 different white boys, and 4 different white boys.
I just realized I misread the comment as well. I was thinking about Sam and her interactions with Sam, but I also agree with this. If it had been more about B, who was Henry's like best friend, that would have been super interesting because of things.
Considering when Addie first meets B, she's just like, what? How does she describe her? Like, she basically is just like one of the most beautiful women she's ever seen. And I'm like, okay,
cool.
Hello?
We want this vanilla white boy instead.
But then you want the boy that looks like Luke.
On brand.
Who has green eyes and dark hair. Wow, it's like we never knew that. Oh my God, please repeat it again.
Stereotypical.
Tell me the color of his eyes. Oh my God, does he smell like sandalwood too? Fucking hell. Anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I think we might dive into spoiler territory.
Yeah, let's
So
do
if you
it.
have not read the book, just a little warning that we will be touching upon less spoilers. I'll give you a minute to hop up if you don't want to have anything ruined for you. But if you don't mind, feel free to stay.
I have many thoughts.
I'm just taking a moment to breathe, and this heat is something.
Should we do some yoga as well, like some meditation? Let's.
Why do you want to make it harder to deal with?
I just slept for 15 hours. Like, has anyone ever slept for that long? I thought I was dying. I missed our book club last night because I was asleep.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Can you give me some of those hours? Just like
literally, like, what do I need them for? I got home at 5. I was in bed by 5:45. I slept until 8 a.m. this morning. I woke up because Jean had messaged me on the Facebook the group chat and was like, "Hey, you coming?" And I was like, "Oh no, I am dead."
No.
I felt so bad. It's like, sorry, I've died.
Died and I've come back a whole new person.
Ooh, that's interesting. If it would have been more interesting if she had started something with B and then learnt about Henry. I really liked B as a character from Henry's, from what we saw from Henry. So it would have been really cool to see her. Like,
But then I would have been sad that we were getting the female, and she wanted to be a white boy, and I would have been like, no. So
no,
go back. Pussy too good.
Or maybe she started something super casual with Henry, then found B and was like, "Oh, you remember me?"
Or both.
You recognize me.
Why can't we have both?
Let's have both.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, no los dos.
More polyamory for a 300-year-old. Come on.
I mean, Henry has a threesome. Like, come on. We could have.
Yeah.
White boys can do whatever they want, Sophia.
Yeah, that's true.
I need to calm down. So spoiler.
Calm down. The 15 hours really did something to you.
I'm going to go back to sleep too. This is breakfast. Like, what's wrong with me? I'm going to then go back to sleep in like 20 minutes. So
it's just like, you want diabetes is what's wrong with you.
No, don't, please. I can't take it.
Yeah.
I'm too fragile.
I know.
Spoilers. So,
all right.
Yes.
Luke.
Hit us. Luke.
Super. Just recent as a draft in my brain. He just looked like that, and then he just acted like that. But then it's like, I think, Sophia, was you who said it? Like, it's like recent, but he just didn't go to Feminism 101 or something like that. Somebody said it. It was fucking hilarious.
No, it wasn't me. But I will say that, like, basically, because, like, when, like, because obviously, like when reading the book, I was like, okay, so this Luke is literally meant to be this dark god creature thing, yeah, that's lived like thousands of years, and all he essentially does is like make deals with very vulnerable people and then take their soul. Like, okay, great, like that's his job, right? But then, like, yeah, like you said, he meets Addie and he's like, oh wow, she's actually like, you know, she doesn't want to give in. Oh,
Different.
maybe she's
like other
different.
girls.
She's not like
She's
other
not like
girls.
other
I'm
girls.
just gonna. And the thing is, like, for me, the way he behaves wasn't what I expected a god to behave like. Like, I understand toying with humans. I understand, like, you know, messing around with their lives and doing those kinds of things because, like, in like a lot of mythologies, that's what gods do. But the fact that he literally like falls in love with her, I was like, what?
No, you know what I appreciate so much though?
Yeah.
The 2 times when she was like, all right, I'm going to wait for him. He's going to show up. We're going to have this conversation. And then he either just does not show up or he like pops and he's like, you good? And she's like, no. And he's like, okay, see ya. And then just pieces out. But that's ultimate power play. Give me more of that. More of her like getting ready to see him, planning out what she's going to say and him just being like, no, goodbye.
I just never turned up. Yeah.
No, I like that
dynamic between them.
And they argued.
I liked that. I liked that dynamic, but then I didn't like how it morphed into something that was meant to be romantic, even though he's obviously like he's like viewing it as in a bit of a romantic notion, but she's like, I don't know, this is not what it is. I just thought that he basically just became this huge simp for her. And I hated it because I was like, this could have been such an interesting relationship, but it just kind of went down a path of like, I don't know, it was just really mediocre in my opinion.
Having freckles, she's different.
Yeah.
I
just kept.
But they're not freckles. They're moles. That's what someone brought up last night. They're moles. Freckles are like, you know.
Thank
So
you.
many more. They change over your lifetime. You're not born with 7 and keep 7 freckles.
Like 7 of these big boys float. That I need to actually get covered in face. But like 7 of these floating around.
Yeah.
Not all the shit you can see hidden by foundation. Who has 7 freckles? It's so specific.
Yeah,
Spattering of freckles.
I just didn't understand. And they're always a constellation. Like, the fuck is this? Like,
is it like the Big Dipper on her face? Like, I don't know. Like,
I don't know.
Capricorn symbol just floating on her forehead? I don't know.
Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, no, I did not like what she did with Luke in that regard. Like, in the way, like, he started off very interesting and, you know, and I really liked their little, like, you know, how, like, throughout history, like, you know, she'll, like, on their anniversary, she'll, like, set things up, she'll do all these things, and he just doesn't rock up. And I'm like, I like that. Yeah, it's a power play. But yeah, no, I didn't like that.
I kept comparing it to last month's book, Gods of Jade and Shadow, with Hunkame and Cassiopeia, and just being like, this is not as good as that relationship. Like,
no, it's not.
I was not, like, the development was nowhere near as well done, and I was just like, can you just like
more of this
that and put it in here?
Yeah, because the thing is, like in Gods of Jade and Shadow, like the reason why they start to fall in love is because he's becoming more human. So he's starting to feel more human things, and I understood that. But like in this one, I was like, but I don't get where this change of character came from.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
because he doesn't change at all as well. And I was kind of touching upon in the spoiler-free section, I liked how it turns out, like with Addie kind of being like, oh, this is now me at my power play. I'm going to beat him at his own game because of the terms of the new agreement, the new deal not being specific enough. And she's like ready to play it out in the long term. I really liked that change in her. Well, not necessarily change, but like a lot of her goal is to just try and best Luke and beat him.
Long con. It was the long con.
Exactly. And I kind of wish that we had seen that switch a little earlier on in the book and had more of that back and forth with her trying to do something, even if she fails miserably, because she's...
Sorry, Jacob's just dying and delivering breakfast. I think Kaz is frozen as well.
Oh, she's okay. She's back now. Yep.
Oh no, I can see. Okay, good. I did freeze before. But yeah, seeing that shift in her and her attempting to undermine him wherever possible, I think would have been a really interesting.
Oh, did she freeze for you guys?
She's gone.
Okay.
Claudia's frozen. Katrina.
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 Katrina. She might just disappear and then come back.
Yeah.
Like mid-sentence.
I swear.
I wonder if we're still working for her, though.
Oh, no, wait, there. Oh, there you go.
Movement.
Yeah.
Can you hear us?
There she is.
Oh,
She's
God.
moving.
Stop talking shit.
A little bit.
I can hear everything. This is so frustrating.
Okay, there you go.
Am
You're
I
back
fine
now.
now?
You're back. Yeah.
Better.
I can't
Oh,
see
no,
myself.
no, no.
Okay. Mm.
No.
Yeah. Where was I going?
You looked
I
really
don't
good in
recall.
8-bit.
I
I
can't.
swear. 2021, we get better internet.
We do. We should. Go.
Oh, please, for the love of God.
Okay. I think you're good now.
Good.
Good.
You're good.
Yeah? I forgot where I was going.
Mhm.
I forgot my train of thought.
You wanted more of the change
You
would-
at the end. How she was like, I'm ready to be a bad bitch now.
Yeah.
Like, give us that earlier. And more of
I
that.
thought,
Like,
because that's what made the story more interesting to me. So I feel like if things had been shifted much earlier in that regard, and there'd been more of a focus on that rather than this love, not love situation with Henry, because she's basically just in it because he sees her and it will remembers her, and the only person to have done that. So therefore, she
Bar is
clings
so
to
low.
that.
So
So low. So low for white men.
Just
The bar is
remember
so
me.
low.
the white boys, yeah.
Mm.
And then Henry's just like, just don't be in love with me. That's all I ask. That's millennial voice for you there.
I
That's
think,
millennial voice. Good
I
lord.
think given the popularity of ADDIE LaRUE, we will most likely receive a sequel at some point, and I think it will go
No.
very heavily
I
into the...
I think we need a sequel. Like,
I don't think so either, but I think that we will end up potentially getting one.
what's going to happen
Is
in
there
the
a movie?
sequel? Like, I don't understand. Nothing happened in the first book, so why are we getting a sequel?
And considering how long it took her to write that book and how much effort she said she put into that book, it'll be like another 13 years before we get one. And then it will be like,
Mm.
I felt so bad because I was like, I love V. Like, I've met her a few times, got to interview her, and I was like, cool, I really hope I like it. And then just to be that one guy that's like,
Well, that's the
Sorry,
thing.
no,
I
I did.
like. Well, actually, because someone brought up in our meet that people that have read V. Schwab before, like her other books, didn't like ADDIE LaRUE as much, but people that haven't read her stuff really liked ADDIE LaRUE. So I think
It's
because,
very-
like,
yeah.
we have, I think because we have, like her previous works, like in our heads, and we kind of know what to expect, or we have like
You
an
can't give me-
expectation. Yeah.
You can't give me Marcella Riggins and then give me ADDIE LaRUE. Like, you
I know,
cannot give
Marcella!
me Marcella Riggins as a character and then go ADDIE LaRUE. Like, no.
Love Marcella. So good.
More Marcella. Good
Best.
lord. I agree. More gods after dark. And I think Feroy said it somewhere floating around that it's interesting that gods are always too busy to answer, but devils are always like, what's up, bitch? It's me, your
What's
girl.
up? I'm
I
here.
got time.
I got
I'm here,
time.
fuck it up.
Mm.
I
Yeah,
do
that was one thing
No,
that
it's
was
because
brought up.
they're not the
in
one. They're
Brisbane.
getting something out of that transaction.
Yeah.
Bitches.
Yeah.
Still.
That was one thing that was brought up in Brisbane, was that we would have liked to see, because there was a comment about how this is like souls is what Luke trades in, the other gods trade in other things, and I think it would have been interesting if we had seen some more of those gods to see what Addie potentially could have given up if someone else had answered.
Yeah. That would have been much more.
that's an
I think
interesting
that would
point.
have been cool.
I
Yeah.
wonder
Yeah,
more,
to give-
Estelle. You remember like Estelle at the beginning who like taught her
Yeah.
about it all? I would have loved like
Mm.
like a couple more paragraphs on like, explaining what kind of gods there are in the world, how it all kind of works. Like there was a few bits, obviously, like having to give up your ring or having to give up, something. I would have liked more of that sort of backstory somewhere. I don't know. As opposed
Yeah,
to
well, the
just,
thing is, I feel like
I'm in the
Estelle was
war.
just underutilized as a character. Like, I feel like she was just
Yeah.
kind of there to be like, there are gods. Don't pray to the ones at dark. And that was it. And I was like, she could have been a much more significant character, considering the fact that when Addie does go back to, what was the town's name again? Is it
LaFrance.
Villon.
I don't know.
Yes.
Villon.
Something.
Villon.
Croissant or something.
Villon, yeah. When she goes back, because when she goes back to her hometown like multiple times, and she goes to like and she goes to the cottage where Estelle lived and things like that, and she obviously has this really deep connection towards Estelle, but like I felt like we didn't see that portrayed at the beginning, and I felt like their relationship, like you said, like there could have been a couple more paragraphs about Estelle explaining things to her a little bit more. Like, this book already has like 500 and something pages. It wouldn't have killed to have another couple paragraphs about how the gods worked, and potentially what she would be trading in if she did get a god that answered her during the day instead of at night.
Indeed.
Yeah, there's a comment there that says that when Addie returns to her hometown was the most boring parts of the book, and that was very very adamant.
She's like, "Oh, I see the people. I see the children of the people. I see everyone's dead, and my house is gone." Like, I don't know what else you expected. Like 200 years later.
The thing is, I think because she's so like she's not tethered towards anything anymore because of her curse. She feels like she needs to go back home to kind of feel something again about being grounded and being in a place that she essentially grew up in. So I understood like her constantly drifting back instead of severing the ties completely. But then she does that after the tree is cut down. Like she does that when the tree goes away. So and I think the point of that was to make it a little bit more heartbreaking in terms of the last connection she's like ever really had is now gone. So yeah, that's how I kind of viewed it. Even though it was boring, I understood the purpose of it.
Speaking of that, I found it really interesting that the cat could see her. Like the cat remembered her, or like could see her.
So cute.
That's peak cat. That's peak cat behavior for you, though.
Peak cat behavior, truly.
Hello.
They know you. Yeah.
Give me a mortal book.
I also there was something else I wanted to bring up, and I'm just trying to remember it, but I'll remember it. You guys can keep chatting. Sorry, just trying to remember what to bring up.
Yeah, I said in Brisbane last night, reading books like Addie LaRue make me feel so uncultured because I'm just like, yeah, art is really interesting. And then I would go to an art gallery in real life and just be like, this is a horse. Good job.
This is a horse.
I do.
You sculpted a horse. So good. Actually, speaking about art, that's what I wanted to talk about. What I really liked in the book was how you had all those different art pieces. How you had like the birds at the beginning, like, and then like that, then it ties in, and then like the portrait, and a couple other things, and then like the Polaroids, the photographs, and like kind of showing how like she has left a mark, but it's not necessarily a traditional mark. And I guess like the whole point, and I guess like one of the things about the book that I found quite compelling was this whole thing about legacy. And about like what kind of legacy will she leave behind when she finally is like, okay, Luke, take my soul. I give up, I don't want to do it anymore, which I don't think she would ever do. But the fact that the book included like those little pages where you got to see the artworks and you got to see like kind of very like unique way that she did leave a piece of herself behind. I thought that was very lovely in terms of like her kind of figuring out that this is like, even though no one remembers her, they still remember those parts of her, and that's how she kind of lives on. And then obviously, at the end of the book when they're like, lol, you've actually been reading The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue because that's the book I published. And I'm like, for fuck's sake, Henry. I don't like that trope. I did not like that. Don't like that trope. I don't.
And it was called Nevernight.
I absolutely hate that trope. Like, I cannot stand it. I was just like, no, this was dope.
I don't need this meta shit in my life. Just give me a book.
Just like, and also the fact that, what was it? Oh, fuck. Shit, I had it in my head. When you have a thought and then just leaves? Oh.
Yeah, it's like
rude. So rude.
I was gonna say.
Do you guys know the paragraph that I'm thinking of? Where it's like, And you wake up and you're 25 and you have no idea what you're doing with your life. And do you remember that paragraph?
Yeah.
Where is it?
Yeah.
I remember
it's
the paragraph.
That hit me in
It's,
the field, but where is it?
It's basically when Henry goes back home, doesn't he? Or when he...
That's what I
I
thought.
think
but-
it's right before Henry strikes his deal.
Yes, it is just before he strikes his deal. Hang on.
I knew it. I've been thinking about it. Now I can't remember where it is.
Oh, yes, we've
Okay.
not touched back on that since we've
If you
come back
find
to
it.
spoilers. Having Henry be one that has also made a deal.
Oh, yeah.
And that being
Oh,
the
yeah.
reason that he remembers.
How convenient.
having-
So convenient.
But then I guess Luke does say, like, "Oh, you
Yeah, but
thought that you
that's
guys just found each other magically? Like that was
Yeah,
a new thing."
that was-
Yeah.
Towards each
Yeah.
other. I was like, "Oh,
Ooh, yeah, I was like,
we're
okay.
getting into
That was a power play, though. I
Yeah.
thought that was very
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
in terms of
I
what
liked
he
that.
did there with her. Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked that. That was very
Mhm.
good.
Like, imagine just having
Mm.
someone every year just show up and be like, "You ready to die yet?" And you're like, "Nah."
Mm.
Are you ready
Nah.
to give up your soul? No.
And they're like, and they're like,
Bye.
"Yeah, fuck." Like, what happens if he gets you on a really bad day and you're like, "Fucking just take it. I don't need it anymore." And then
Well, I
you've
mean,
done
he
it.
almost does. He almost does when he turns her
Yeah.
into an old lady in the cottage.
Mm.
Where is that? I
I
know
know, I've
exactly
been
what you're
thinking about it.
talking about.
Mm.
I can't. It's all right if you can't find it. I've got no idea where it is.
When does he
But-
tell her that oh, Lamau, I did a deal too. Like, what page was that?
Oh, I thought you were saying someone's last name.
Lamau.
Wow.
Mal.
No.
LaRue,
That
Lamau.
was another point.
Henry gave me the thing is actually now that you say Mal, this book gave me Elena
Mal.
is Addie, the Darkling is Luke,
Darkling.
and
Let
Henry
it
was
die,
Mal, and I was
Sophia.
like,
Let
no, let it die.
Let him
yeah.
live. He was a young boy who had his whole life uprooted. Let him live.
Who should I let live? Mal.
Now,
Mm.
Never.
You know what? I don't care about him. He can
I got no idea where it
yeet
is.
into the
Anyway,
sun.
that's the paragraph that made me feel things.
I'll
I don't know where
find
it is, but
Mm. That was one thing that was also raised at the Brisbane meet that we're in. We go to France and we are in America, but we have a very white cast for the majority of the story.
mm,
Yeah.
It's just you're in mixing pots of cultures, but we have one person of color as a character.
She also only learns the European languages, and she's like, I'm cultured.
Mhm. Yeah.
I can speak Portuguese. Okay, girl. Okay, you can speak Portuguese. Good on ya.
Latin.
Good
Yeah,
on
okay.
you.
Latin,
7 dead
Latin,
languages.
Japanese.
But
would
then,
have been
but then I do admire the fact that she goes out of her way to learn how to read, because obviously
Mm.
women back when she was living,
Mm.
originally, were not educated at all. So I commend her for taking that on board and learning how to actually read. I'm just gonna find this paragraph. I will do it.
Sorry.
I
Let's
will do it.
have a look at the
No, I will.
comments.
on a mission.
I'm gonna do it.
I did appreciate, by the end of the book, I was like, I don't even fucking know, apart from her 7 freckles, what Addie even looks like. And I guess that was kind of the point as well.
Yeah, because you're not meant to really know what she looks.
Yeah. So I was like, I appreciate that, but I'm also like, I didn't like the book enough to be like, yes, kudos, good job. I was just kind of like, it's annoying. Fair. Da-da-da-da. Are we getting tired of the whole falling in love with the darkness trope?
Yeah, I'm not vibing with that.
Yeah, give me a soft boy now, a good soft boy, just a Peter Malark. I'm done with all the angry bad boys who offer nothing except their tortured souls. Give me a simp.
Give me the simps.
Give me soft boys who just want to do well.
Yeah. Okay.
Give me women. What was the most annoying after 300 years? She still hadn't figured out a way to save money or put down roots. Touche.
I mean, yes, but at the same time, I feel like the nature of her curse wouldn't have realistically allowed for that to happen.
Yeah.
because
No, it
I
makes
feel like it
sense.
was realistic the way it was done, even if it wasn't the most captivating or it was frustrating, which I think kind of plays into why.
Give me a himbo. Sorry, I just read one of the comments. No, Pierre, it's on page 278.
Oh, I thought you said hippo. I was like, say what?
Give me a himbo. Himbos. All I want is himbos.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
one.
I didn't.
That one. Yeah.
I literally opened to this page before and I was like, nah, that's not it. Thank you, Sophia.
All good. Anytime.
Yeah, man. That hit me in the feels real deep.
That really hit me too. That was a very poignant bit of the
I think
book.
it was, for me, I think it was the last one. It's like blink and you're 28 and everyone else is now a mile down the road and you're still trying to find it. And the irony is hardly lost on you that in wanting to live, to learn, to find yourself, you've gotten lost. I was like, Miss Schwab, please. Ouch.
Miss Schwab.
I feel attacked.
Please.
Just at me next time.
Just slide into my DMs and hit me with that paragraph.
Rude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something that was also brought up at the Brisbane meet last night was 300 years and you choose to inspire artists. You're not working to fix pollution or anything along those lines.
You're not doing anything for the
We're
planet.
not actually helping humanity. We're just like, yeah,
Remember
sad boy to
me.
write a song.
Put me in art. Oh,
Put me in art.
my internet is not cooperating. Oh no.
Oh no.
We've got free reign bitches now. Let's ruin our channel. Titties out. I'm just kidding. I'm more annoyed at this horrible why we're so big. There's so much space.
We're just like, oh, hang on, she's back now. It's okay.
There we go.
She's back.
Do we have a cast?
Change the format.
No, she's gone.
Sorry, that was just for you, Piera.
Piera just doesn't want her face zoomed in, so.
Just so much face. Like, nobody needs that much face. Good lord. Yeah, that's much better.
That's what I wanted.
Leave it like that.
No, I'm trying to...
Yes, leave it like
There you
that.
go.
No.
There you go. That's what I meant to do.
No.
Love that.
No. Can read all my hard work back here that just is clearly very important.
I can't read that.
Just live. Just wake up and live. Baby steps, you know? I mean,
Yes.
shit, like literally not enough of this book that I can recall sticking to my brain for good reasons.
Yeah, there
Like,
wasn't
that's
really like any like
That's all I got.
there weren't really moments where you're just like, whoa, like, you know, that really hit me or things like that. Like you get really nice like passages, like the one that you just read, Piera. Like you get really nice like passages that are very relatable, but like you wouldn't like there wasn't like any, I guess, like, well, the thing is it lacked plot. Like for me, it just really lacked plot. Not much happens, and it's more just like her kind of just recollecting things and just like talking about life. And I'm just like, well, look, I understand, but I didn't go into this book wanting to have a philosophical argument about legacy and life. I wanted some sort of like substance. And it, yeah.
Substance. Just at Victoria next time. At Victoria. More substance next time, please.
More
I'm
substance
sorry, this
next
is
time.
your life's work.
I just didn't
Look,
love it. I'm sorry.
If I wanted a discussion about legacy, I would read historical fiction or literary fiction. I'm reading fantasy. Give me something.
But I guess it wasn't fully, I guess, like, I don't know. Well, we were thinking, like, how do we categorize it? Like, is it more historical fantasy? Like, what is it?
Boring fantasy.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. I also find it really interesting that so many, when I posted my video about it, so many people like this. If you had posted something like this like years ago, when like it was like cool to hate it, like what, like oh, fuck, Pierre, use your words. For example, when everyone loves Sarah J. Maas,
see me.
and, like,
Can you
people
see me?
say
Oh my
bad
God.
things about it, everyone would jump
Oh,
on
you
board
get
and be like,
you get crucified.
You read the book wrong. Yeah, and like have a go about it. Now you can be like, hey, I didn't like this popular book, and people are like, oh, like that's fair. I really loved it, or oh, that's cool. Like, I'm sorry you didn't like it. I loved it. Like that is character development on BookTube. Like, thank
Character
you.
development.
Thank you, the internet.
Abby,
this one wasn't
Can
for
we
me.
just can we bring up Abby Wilson's comment where she's like, would die for Luke though? Excuse me, Abby.
Girl, your standards.
Abby.
Your standards.
No,
Up them.
no.
Up those standards.
basic white man.
We're not
No.
falling for just dark, broody boys anymore. They have to offer some substance. Like, Darlington can read.
The bar is so
The
low.
bar is
So
higher
low.
now. We expect things of men. If they don't do things,
Sorry,
we
my
don't want them.
Internet cut out.
What?
You're
Oh,
okay.
no.
Sorry, I was just going to say my internet cut out, so I don't know if anyone touched upon the comment that I had highlighted. But has anyone touched upon it?
No.
No.
No?
I do
Okay,
those
I was gonna
right
say,
now.
Henry,
Sorry.
Oh.
I don't even remember.
Henry doesn't forget her in the sense. So after like a year or whatever it is, it's kind of like he's starting to forget, but in the sense of like you forget something that you haven't in a long time, like it's blurring around the edges, the details are fading, but he's not forgetting her. And
I mean, he wrote this whole book, remember? He remembers.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
point. He remembers
is-
because he wrote a book.
Yeah, he publishes the journals and because he's like, I do
What would have
remember
been
her.
really interesting is if Henry had been a woman, and then in the end, the woman was V.E. Schwab, and V.E. Schwab had loved ADDIE LaRue, and that was the twist. That I would have paid money for. If, like, the woman's name was Victoria or something, and then we're like, holy shit. But no, a white boy. I'm sorry, white boys out there who watch this. I'm sure some of you are lovely.
You have one in the
Nothing
house,
against
don't you?
Huh?
Isn't Jacob a white boy?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I went and did the most hetero thing I could possibly do, and I went, I'm going to marry a white man because I'm done. But here we are. Here we are.
Here we are.
Shut up, Sophia. Don't you talk. None of you.
I know,
None of you speak.
None of us can actually speak. None of us can.
I would like to
Rochelle's
disagree.
Rochelle's fine. The rest of us.
Wholeheartedly.
The rest of us. We all
The
fucked up.
rest of you.
Letting down
Me,
bisexuals
I'm good.
everywhere.
I'm good.
We're afraid of women. That's why. Women are intimidating. So we all went, what's easy? White men. Because the bar is so low. Because the bar is so low. Anyway, I'm going to stop now. Yeah.
Never stop.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway,
he was born. He was born.
unfortunately, I was not as happy with it as I thought I would be. Could have been more, but yeah.
Okay.
Cool. So, I guess,
All right.
unless anyone has any questions, Katrina, you were saying?
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing. If there's any other blah, things you want to touch upon.
It's okay that you adored it. It's fine that you loved it. Jean also loved it. Jean loved it.
Jean
I
loved
didn't
it.
dislike it. Yeah. Mine was kind
nobody-
of like a pretty middle of the road book for the majority of it. I didn't feel strongly either way, but the ending I really liked, which is what bumped it up for me. But I can acknowledge that it's not.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah, there was something
It's
that I
okay
wish
if you
we'd
love it.
gotten more
Everyone
of.
said that you love it.
Don't question everything.
To be fair, when do I ever come onto this book club and I'm like, I loved this book, unless it's fucking Fury
Look at the
Born.
books that you choose to reread. You're like,
Oh
now I hate
my
it.
god, Pierre.
I don't know. I
Do
thought I'd like this one, okay?
speak.
I was expecting to like this one. Next year, maybe I'll just be like, more of these. But even then, like, I don't fucking know. I'm a good reader. Maybe I'll like it, maybe I won't.
Most likely
The
not.
fact that you read Fury Born and loved
about-
it, then you reread it and hated it. Sorry, I'm just never going to get over that.
Wait, which one?
Fury Born.
Which one, Sophia?
Fury Born.
You remember you read Fury Born and you really loved it, and then you're like,
Yeah,
"Guys,
that's what I
for
was
book club," and then you reread it and you're like, "No, I hate this shit."
Yeah. And yet here I am still trying to push through book 3 just for you.
You need to talk to me when you finish book 3, okay?
I can't. I don't want to read anything right now. I just DNF'd a book that was like 300 pages because I was like, I'm bored. Like, get over yourself. Like, what the fuck? What do you expect? Anyway.
Okay.
Book club and then 2021.
Yes. Touching upon that, we currently don't have any books set in stone, but we will likely be back in February with our discussion at the end of Feb. But yeah, we don't have any specific books picked out yet. If anyone does have any suggestions or
like new releases or something like that, we generally try to aim for like popular new releases in the month they come out, and then on the months that there kind of aren't anything, we'll go for like an obscure book, or then I guess depending on
and
what's going on in like the community.
Sorry, I'm
whether
really
it's like,
laggy.
that's right. I know, like we try to adhere to, like, you know, if it's Pride Week or something, or like we try to angle towards doing stuff like that, or like Black History Month, and just try to be climately conscious. Well, so
yeah, even if it's just like a vague kind of concept or genre, like more specific fantasy genre that anyone's interested in touching upon more, then feel free to let us know, because we often do polls if there is a month where we don't have a specific new release we're all excited about. So yeah, we can work with anything if anyone has any ideas.
There are definitely some suggestions.
Sorry, I just saw that. Once
That's an option.
Is a good book.
Look, I saw Kings of the Wild suggested in there, and I'm totally fine with that.
Please, I will read it for the next time. It's so good.
Ditto. Because you bought it for me,
Court of
Kira, I'm pretty
Silver
sure.
Flames. Bruh.
Oh God, no.
Oh,
Wait,
Sarah J.
no,
Maas.
Yes, shut your whole mouths. We will be reading A Court of Silver Flames. I don't care what you say.
I haven't.
That's a hard pass
I'm
for
not
me,
catching
babe.
up on the whole
That's a
series
hard pass.
to read it.
I will be reading it very, very many times when it comes. It's probably my most anticipated book for next year. I'm not even mad. Like that, I'm so
Oh no,
ready
I'm
for
definitely
it.
gonna read it, but I just don't know if we should do it before.
It's not a book club book.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's really not.
That means I would have to read Aka War first.
Exactly.
And then
Nobody
No,
Same. I
that
haven't
was
finished
hot
the series.
trash. Don't read that. No.
Not worth it.
Don't.
No.
I'm not prepared to read that.
That's
Just
hilarious.
hard pull the fucking parachute out of here. I'm just like,
Fine.
Yeah.
Fine. Don't make me put Kitty in the Ninth on there, because I'll do it. Well, I think you've all read it now, haven't you?
no.
Yeah, I've read it.
I bought it. I bought it for you, but I still have not read it.
I also finished Harrow the other day. So yeah, there you go.
You're welcome. Cool. Dope. Double dope. Well,
Awesome.
I guess over the next couple month or so, we'll just post on social media like, oh, hey, here's a cool book that we've read if you guys want to read it. If you're stumped for book recommendations.
Exactly. That's a good idea.
Otherwise, have a good fucking Christmas.
Oh,
Yes.
enjoy your
Enjoy everyone's
your break
festive
if you get
season.
one.
Stay safe. Stay COVID smart if you're in places that are still dealing with it.
Yeah.
America, get your shit together.
Hopefully it's a pleasant weather for you. Nothing like this heat. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. No,
So we'll be
sorry.
coming back in Feb.
No.
We'll be coming back in February.
Yeah, we take a break. Yep.
Free reign, baby. Read your own books.
Woohoo.
Yep.
All right.
All right.
Okay, what is everyone else reading?
Thanks
right
everyone
now?
for joining us.
Katrina.
Oh,
Katrina.
nothing.
she
I
has
just
a
finished.
tone.
I'm laggy. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Never mind. Okay. Bye.
No, we can talk about our books.
I was just gonna see what you guys reading. That's all.
Yeah. Finished 2 books in the past 12 hours, so I've got nothing.
She's got nothing. Okay.
Anyone
Yeah.
else?
I'm going to read Kingdom of Copper. So I'm going to finish the David Bad trilogy. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Rochelle?
I'm at some point, hopefully in the next month, picking up the Dragon Republic, so Jean will get off my back.
Oh, finally.
Really good.
Yes.
And then my audiobook at the moment is A Conjuring of Light by B. Schwab, because I'm finally going to finish that trilogy.
Amazing. A Conjuring Light's probably the best book in that trilogy.
Favorite one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm getting keen to finish the year strong.
Yeah.
Dope.
Nice.
Good.
Good shit, bitches.
Thank you.
What about you, Pierre?
Hi. Hi, is that Alex? Hi, Alex.
Yeah, you made a smoothie
Oh,
in a mug.
Cute.
Very cute.
All right, bitches. See you next year.
Toodle-
all right. See ya.
Bye.